I want to make this very clear. April 29th, the free speech meeting in Clearwater. Links are in the description. We also have on April 10th, we've got Flagler. Links are in the description. Also on April 10th, we have Flagler Beach. All the links are in the description. If you can make any one of these times, we're going to be doing a protest in front of the Funky Pelican in Flagler around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock until the meeting goes on. And then the meeting in Okeechobee is at 9. And then like I said, the link for the free speech meeting is in the description. I do want you to understand that a lot of this video is put in 1.5 speed. That way you didn't have to watch 3 hours of this. So I put it in a faster speed. If you want to slow it down so you can understand it, put it in I believe it's 0.75 speed. That way it's a little slowed down and you can understand it, but you're gonna see what you're gonna see. But during certain parts of the commission, anything that's about the council meeting is in 1.5 speed. Everything else is in normal speed. So take it how you will, but I tried to condense almost 3 hours into 1 hour. So you're welcome. And don't forget, hit that like, share, and that subscribe button.
And working. It is now known to me, Tracy McManus, everybody is familiar with Tracy McManus, asked me when I was running, did you know that Scientology or its parishioners owned 200 properties? No, I didn't. I did not. But when I had a meeting with the city manager and sat across from Dave Miscavige, he did tell me we own 200 properties.
We're going to talk about it again. I think with all due respect, it was a negotiation. There's no question that it wasn't a negotiation. The CEO of the city is the city manager.
What the f*** say so?
God damn it, are you f***ing with me?
It's whatever the elementary school language I need to present to allow everybody in this room to understand that our city manager is going to be the point person for the rest of the Garden Avenue project.
I think it's a shame and disrespectful that we're sitting here questioning your role in the city. You are the CEO of the city. That is your job, that is your title, that is your duty, that's what you get paid to do.
Are you stupid or something? I'm as stupid as stupid does.
If the manager doesn't do what she's supposed to do, she will be fired.
Would want clarification in terms of what the steps are to
Now that's a titty. Holy man.
clarify if we are negotiating or not, because that was the direction that I thought I received by all 5 of council. And so just to clarify, is that what I'm going to continue to do? Are we going to do something different with that, just so that I'm clear on the direction from staff standpoint?
Well, I don't recall a meeting where we voted to give you authority to negotiate.
Burn. Triple-decker burn! Burn! Burn!
And that's what we're talking about here. Yep. Because we have not committed, we've not voted to say, we are only going to talk with this one group about purchasing the street. We have not done that. We've not considered that in a public meeting, and we have to, in order to give you any authority to negotiate with it. We've not done that. She's essentially been negotiating for 5 individual members, taking each one of our 5 preferences and discussing with them. This is what they would like to see in a proposal, but we've not even had an agreement drafted and put into the record until the draft of the agreement until here, I guess it was this meeting, this meeting, general work session came up.
What's going on, everybody? Silliacker here, and I'm going to tell you right now, just like you saw in the intro, oh, they angry amongst each other. Oh, man. CEOs and this and blah, blah, blah. Just remember, on April 29th, if you want to have your free speech, show up. I will put links in the description so that if you want to show up, please show up. This is one of the only few times that you can actually use your free speech not on an agenda item. This is free speech. You just go in there and you just want to talk about whatever you want. That's what this meeting's all about. So I'm not going to keep this long-winded. Don't forget, hit that like, share, and that subscribe button. And yeah, this is going to be a bumpy road, and I'll see you on the next one. Silliacker, deuces. And fuck you, council.
And I'll start off. I've got obviously some things to say. We've been dealing with this since I think that Scientology put in for vacation in December, and that's when this whole conversation started between city staff and the elected officials you see here today, and that's where we all decided to, hey, go allow city staff to go and bring back a negotiation. As I said, even at the work session, this started with Scientology wanting 3 properties, not 3 properties. And we, through negotiation, said, listen, let's start somewhere with 1, right? As I've alluded to, I'm born and raised here, 2nd generation. I went to Calvary Baptist Church downtown.
Today, Junior!
So I think something needs to change, and we all say that because we've heard it up here from countless people that this is a ghost town. We've had papers in the windows for how long? If you go walk Cleveland Street now, through these active negotiations, you can see that there's permits in windows now. Paper is down, things are actively happening. I think that's a good progress to where we're trying to get, because I genuinely believe that we can be better than St. Petersburg, that we will be the destination that people want to come to. We already have world-class beaches. Why can't we have a world-class downtown to suit it? I think that we can.
I guess David Miscavige, one of the leaders of friggin' Scientology, just lied to you and just bought up all the property and was like, hey, we don't have to do anything. It's our property and we'll do what we want. They don't care. They just want to keep taking from Clearwater, and then you got on the gravy train and started sucking Scientology's boot. I don't know what happened. I don't know. I honestly, you have to wait for this. This gets crazier.
You know, I appreciate the city attorney going over the specifics of the deals that show that taxpayers are protected with what was negotiated. I mean, I was surprised that Scientology signed the deal, if I'm being honest, right? Because of the $300,000 that they're going to be charged year over year by not getting the building completed at a certain date. And then after the terms are met past 9 years, we could take the property back if we so choose, or see what's going on with that time frame.
And this is another lie. Scientology doesn't have to pay them a single dime until they actually complete it. So they can run it up for the next 9 years and not do a single thing. And they're willing to take that chance with David Miscavige that has done nothing for Clearwater up until they got into negotiations 4 months ago.
I think something else that we need to remember is with the certificate of occupancy, title doesn't change over. So we've heard some people up here state that we're going to make this decision tonight, and then all of a sudden the fences are going up, you can't use garden, nothing's going to be accessed. I mean, that can't be further from the truth, because no building is done, and if no building is done, no certificate of occupancy has been given, no title has been transferred. So Cleveland Street will still be there, your parking spots will still be there, you'll still be able to utilize these things. And I think that, again, I have to commend city staff for the negotiation that they put forward in trying to take 5 different people's variation of what we're trying to build here. That's got to be.
Did a records request for it.
So I still commend the city manager, the city attorney for bringing the deal that we have. And I do believe that with that contract and the assurances that we've been given verbally, right? I know how people feel about that. I've read 50 emails, I think, that I have saved in the Garden Avenue folder. I get it, but I think that these binding words are starting to show fruit. Again, you walk Cleveland now versus 2 months earlier, the paper's starting to come down, the permits are in, work is being done.
Once again, this is kind of a fallacy. He's kind of trying to make it seem like they're doing something. They have 3 buildings out of 200 over the last 50 years. 50 years, they bought up 200 buildings, and they're just now starting to open up some of these buildings. Let's see how that works.
The caveat to that is seeing non-institutional use with long-term leases for commercial businesses, restaurants, storefronts, those types of things, so that we can see an active downtown. And I truly believe that this is just one step in going forward with that. So I have nothing else to add right now.
Nominate me? I think it's procedurally probably in our best interest to acknowledge Brooks and his presentation. So before I go on about this agenda item, does anybody disagree with me with that? Okay. First of all, I appreciate your positive delivery in coming up. I appreciate your time frame and how quick. I was with you last night till about 8:30 p.m. and I had no thoughts that you would have any ability in that short amount of time to submit a proposal like that. So congratulations to you and your team.
I'm really excited actually about the opportunity of the street being available. I think it's exciting. And when I think the open bid process, you have 30 days to do it. Today was the last day.
I want you to understand that Clearwater and the city manager, Jennifer Poirier, they have been working on this for over 4 months. And the people finally just heard about this in the beginning of March at a council meeting. And so this guy, in 2 weeks, came up with another proposal.
You know, I didn't hear about it. March 17th, there was a woman by the name of Miss Barbara Sorry Love. She runs the wonderful little organization called the Clearwater African American Foundation. And she had said, and made it into the paper, and that's how I heard about it, that she would love to see the city dedicate some space to honor the African American heritage that's there. Of course, that particular area of Garden Avenue is one of 3 critical, kind of like original parts of the city that has some great heritage. And I went ahead and researched her, and I was inspired by her suggestion. I kind of got the sense it might have been ignored. And then I researched every article about her. I talked to several people about her just to understand her reputation. I finally got hold of her and I said, what's your vision for that space? If we could get you that street, what would you like to use it for? And she explained to me that she would like it to be a memorial for the African American community, especially in the sad aftermath of the fiasco of the burial situation that the CRA is struggling with, and I understand under a lawsuit right now. I don't know the details of that, and forgive me if I'm misspeaking in any way, shape, or form, but I just know it's a sensitive issue, and the city wants to show good faith and be able to say, we made a mistake, we'll make it right. There's been some remains found on a certain piece of property, and part of our due diligence and to honor the past is to dedicate part of our community to that particular people and their heritage. So any questions for me about the proposal that I've submitted to you in writing today?
Yeah, I do have a couple questions. I thank you for getting it in. I know you mentioned it was kind of late in the day, but we work until the work's done.
Yeah,
so
you
the
do.
majority of us grabbed it and dove into it, so I thank you for doing the work to get this to it. I did have a couple questions. My original one goes back to the map, because the site plan, and I just was kind of, because the site plan kind of makes it look like your park is on the Church of Scientology property, so I wasn't sure, is there some partnership that isn't in this that we're not seeing or hearing?
Oh, well, thank you. Because of the short amount of time, all I could do is a basic sketch. But the idea is you have, 0.4 acres there or something to that effect, between 0.4 and 0.65. We still want to keep that a thoroughfare. I think that would be the preference of the council, as well as citizens who want to get off Court Street, take a right, and go up Garden Avenue. And so I think we can make that into a one-way so they can get up towards Franklin to be relieved out of traffic. But then you have all this land still there that could make a beautiful fenced-in park. And the plans we have for the park, I went into great detail in the proposal. It honors 7 heroes of the African American community. It has vintage playground equipment that children would have played in the 1900s. It's a $500,000 project that we would pay for. And so it's a beautiful, I think it's going to be a treasure, and it's certainly honoring our African American members in our community who care about their heritage.
My other question was, I noticed in here it said $500,000 over 3 years. That's not 500 each year, right? You're saying 500 total?
Right. From what I understand, I was looking at the proposal, the alternative proposal of $1.375 million that's going to be paid at the end of the construction. That's 6 years from now. I'm saying we can complete this in 3 years. And less, actually, depending on how vibrant the community of Clearwater is seeing. Let's get this done. It might be $1 million park.
Yeah, I had a few questions as well in regards to the $500,000 total sum. Do we already have, or your organization already have developers or people that are fronting this money, or is these just as it says, estimated cost? So
I've secured $500,000, but I can see that my alternative, my competitor for this particular project does not have to come up with that money until years from now. They don't even have to start until 5 years. So I'd say, hey, give me 3 years and we'll get it done. And
is that true, Mr. Burroughs, to the extent that Scientology will not be paying for the property for 5 years?
6 post-construction. Forgive me.
Because
It doesn't transfer.
Correct.
Until certification of occupancy.
Right, that is correct. As drafted, and like most real estate contracts, the funds do not transfer until closing. As currently drafted, at least, the closing does not occur until the building is complete, on the logic that if the city were to potentially convey title at the beginning and then they didn't complete the project, you would have lost control over the property, lost title to the property. Yes, you would have gotten money up front, but you wouldn't have gotten the project. And so it really depends on what the city's priorities are in that regard. But as drafted, it is true that, number one, funds don't transfer until closing. Number two, closing does not occur unless and until they build the project.
And then after that, the taxpayer reassurances that we have that are written into it, there's $300,000 fines that are associated with that. And how did we come to that number? Could you explain to how we came to that number?
$300,000 per year is the amount that the buyer, which in this case prospectively is the church, would have to pay in order to extend the closing. So the closing, as currently drafted, needs to occur by the end of 2031, meaning they need to finish the project by the end of 2031. If that does not occur, they're delayed, they don't build it, they sit around, whatever they end up doing, the church has the option to extend at $300,000 per year, non-refundable to the city. So that would mean, for example, if the city were to approve the deal as drafted, and let's say the closing were to occur in 2032, and they finish the project in 2032, the total funds coming to the city would be $1.375 billion plus $300,000, so it'd be $1.675 million, as an example.
Understood. And then what is the exact timeline to where, if they don't have anything completed, the city can take action to reclaim the property?
I don't think there'll be any reclaiming because the transfer doesn't even occur unless and until they were to complete the project. However, it really depends on whether they're willing to pay the extension fees. As currently drafted, if they did not take any action and did not pay the extension fees, then at that point the city would be able to withdraw from the agreement at the end of 2031, or I guess I would say January 1st of 2032. Conversely, if they delayed for that long and then they did pay the extension fees, the church would have the option to extend as late as the end of 2033 to finish the project. One of the more interesting scenarios would be if the church got a
very late start on this, and then let's say hypothetically they didn't start building it until 2031, but they haven't finished the project in the middle of 2033, that puts them in a pretty strange box because they will have paid non-refundable extension fees to the city, and at the end of 2033, if the project is half built or if it's not finished at that time, the city would be able to withdraw from the contract and keep the $600,000 in extension fees. At least that's how it's currently drafted.
Correct. And anything that they may have developed on that property from that time forward.
Well, they wouldn't develop anything on the property until the actual sale of the property. So it'll
Yes.
remain a street until they're substantially completed or completed with their project.
I would generally agree with Councilmember Albritton on that, with the only caveat being that part of what is contemplated as drafted is a temporary construction easement. So once they get their building permits approved, there would likely at some point be a construction easement so that they would be able to stage construction equipment. But to Mr. Albritton's point, I don't think they're going to be building anything. I don't think they could build anything on Garden Avenue until they actually had title to the land.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a bunch of horse shit. Ryan Cotton, pay attention to this. You, Clearwater, you want to tighten things up. You want to tighten them up, right? Clearwater just bought $1 million worth of boats. $1 million. They've got Station Square where Poirier and Texera live. And they lose money on like 100 parking spots or something like that. They pay the place that Texera and Poirier live at, they pay 11% of all the condo HOA fees at that condo that they live at. If you want to start cutting friggin' little chips in here and here, I got $1 million that you can just write off rip. Right off rip. And you're willing to sell Scientology $1.375 million that they're going to do absolutely nothing with? And to close down a street? Yeah. Mr. Cotton, as much as I really did respect you because you fought for our First Amendment, but you've lost me on this one. So, in the description, everybody.
That's exactly what it would be, a public-private partnership if we go that model. And that would simply mean it'd be a nonprofit. We lease it for 30 years for $1 a year. We take all the expense to take care of it. And then there's some terms that the city could obviously seize the property back if it's not meeting the standard of care and beautification that the city requires. We wouldn't let that happen because we really care about this project. But I was suggesting in the proposal that you simply maintain ownership of it and then you dedicate it as a gesture of goodwill and good faith to the African American community, especially those who are memorialized. Because that's a really important issue. You talk to people and they really care about the graves and the remains that were paved over and built on, and the city didn't seem to care. And it's a disaster. And I just think that this is a way we could be part of the solution, and it would go really far, I think, with our key stakeholders. So if you are concerned about the price of maintaining the park, then I would hope that you would give me the same amount of time that you gave the Church of Scientology to negotiate the terms, and so that we could get our team together and say, done, consider it done.
Now, what's going to happen in this next part, I want you to understand that Clearwater has been talking with David Miscavige for a long time. This is something that has been going on for almost over a year, or somewhere close to a year. Tracy McManus was the one that did a story on this, and we truly miss you, Tracy. Wish you were here. But you can see this building, this is what they're talking about, and this is what Scientology wants to take. And as you can see right here, this was published on January 30th of 2024. So this has been ongoing for a long time. So don't let them fool you thinking that all of a sudden this just happened. And if you want, this is right there. Like I said, city manager Jennifer Poirier said she is in discussions with church representatives. This has been ongoing for a year, everybody. So what they're saying, they're like, oh, we only did it for this long, which is a lie. It's been going on since 2024. And here we are in 2025. Now, this next interaction right here, I want you to pay attention to, because this is also a very huge fabrication, because they were working with David Miscavige for almost 4 months, and this guy only knew about it up to 2 weeks before it was proposed on this day.
I appreciate that sentiment, but how long have we had this for bid, David? It's been out for 30 days at least, right?
The Community Redevelopment Act requires 30-plus days of advertising. It has been advertised in accordance with Flagler.
Yeah. I did and then I saw this document at roughly 4 p.m. today.
Right, but it is within the window. And
so, Mr. Cotton, That's why I'm calling you. You are just being so ingenuous. This has been going on for over a year, and then for the last 4 months before it ended up on for that 30 days when they were like, oh, we finally came to agreements, you didn't tell anybody. For 4 months, nobody had clues that, or what, 1 year, for over a year prior, and then there has been 4 months of Poirier doing it again. This has been ongoing for over a year and a half almost. And what you're saying is just, it's not truthful. And whatever, I mean, all I'm doing is Google searches and I'm finding this stuff, dude. Do some homework. I don't know, man. You do what you want to do, because obviously that's what you're going to do. You crybaby.
Was with you last night till about 8:30 p.m. and I had no thoughts that you would have any ability in that short amount of time to submit a proposal like that. So congratulations to you and your team. I also want to sincerely acknowledge your passion for our Greenwood community and protecting the legacy of Mac Dixon and putting a park in memory. I think that's very important. You obviously drummed up some support in here tonight financially. You have my support with that.
Yada, yada, yada.
I noticed she's big on the phrase yada yada.
Is yada yada bad?
Oh, yada yada's good. She's very succinct.
Yada yada.
Yada what?
The proposal for the submission deadline, it was today,
It is.
and we cannot extend it, correct? Or is that true?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that. I mean, I do believe that the council has the discretion to extend it. You could not shorten it, but I do believe that if it was the will of the council, you could extend it. Just to kind of give general context for this, the procedural aspects of the notice and advertising are somewhat different in this transaction than they are in a lot of other transactions the city has. And the reason for that primarily is because it's downtown. Downtown, it's governed by the Community Redevelopment Act, which is a state law that governs disposition of city-owned or CRA-owned real estate within the CRA. And so that makes it different than, say, property you might dispose of anywhere outside the CRA. Under the Community Redevelopment Act, there are specific advertising requirements. There are minimum advertising requirements, but they do not prevent the city or the council from extending a deadline. So the 30-day advertising requirement, which is statutory, is a floor, but the council does, if it so chooses, have the power to extend that deadline. But it has been advertised for 30 days, which is the standard under Florida law. I do believe council could extend it if you so choose.
So what Mr. Zipperhead, Mr. Nice Haircut attorney's saying is that, yes, 30 days. But mind you, nobody knew about that they could buy this piece of land or even obtain a street. This has been ongoing for a year and 4 months with David Miscavige and Jennifer Poirier, the city manager. They've been in cahoots for a year and 4 months, and the guy that came up with the proposal, he came up with it in 2 weeks, and now they're trying to ask for more time, in a nutshell.
How important this issue is, right? And so those who come up to me, they say, this is such in a rush. I wasn't aware. 30 days is not enough. If I didn't hear it from my neighbor, I wouldn't have known. And this is not, they perceive it as insignificant. And so I'm wondering if there's an appetite from us to extend this time frame, because they've had to come up with this in, what is it, a week, 2 weeks? Whereas the other person, the other Church of Scientology, had how many months to prepare it? It resonates with me, this whole idea of that there's not enough time. People didn't know about it, and they want a fair chance to bid on it. And in terms of, what we're going to do with that street, I don't approve of what the church is going to do with that street. So are we going to, it's tough, we're going to say, oh, this is not the right place for this proposal. So I don't know. I'm wondering, is there an appetite from this council to extend the period and give this group or other groups more time, since this is a polarizing issue? This is a downtown street. So that's my question.
I think we all up here understand that this memorial garden is a good thing. I just don't think it's the right fit for this memorial garden. I think that just reading through the purpose and the vision and what you're requesting of the city of Clearwater with no real clear answers on how maintenance is going to be done, and really you hadn't even started doing any kind of fundraising to finish the park, and you're not expecting really to pay for the street. You're expecting Clearwater to give you the street. I think there's a better fit with the North Greenwood CRA. The North Greenwood CRA could probably help fund this and help maintain it. As Reverend Wade was saying, there's plenty of places that they've been talking for years about having revitalized up there. But next to a busy street, I just can't, Court Street, how many cars do we have there? I mean, it's a very active street, and to have a children's park next to it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. to me, if we do a partnership and you can cover the maintenance on it, we can help get the land to put this park in, and I think it would make a lot better, to me, it would be better suited in another location, not this location.
Anybody? Yeah, or council discussions.
Yeah, so I would agree. I think that this is a great idea, especially, with some of the points that were mentioned, with the African-American graves and all of the things that were alluded to, the 7 families that were pointed out here, to honor them as well. I do agree it's a great idea for a park, but I also agree with Reverend Wade. Why are we not doing this in the Greenwood area? That it seems like it's the optimal place to put it for that community and to strengthen it and embolden it, right?
I agree and I disagree. The thing I agree with, yes, should it be, with the black, if the black community is saying yes, let's put it here. If the all, and leave it up to them. If that's a better fit, put it on the agenda and have the African Americans, the black people, come there and speak their mind and say, yes, I would like it here. But me personally, putting it in downtown Clearwater, and as you're trying to revitalize Clearwater, just imagine the historic premise of that park. It would give all the people, maybe not a lot of people know about Greenwood. It's not like Greenwood is like supposed to be like downtown. That's why you usually put historic monuments and things of that nature in your downtown area so that people get a historic reference of what Clearwater used to be. But that's just my 2 cents. Leave your comment down below if you agree or disagree.
I'll weigh in. Yes, I would vote to postpone it. If the motion and second were made to postpone it, because, and I've got prepared marks, when we get to final vote, but I go back to what I've said before. They don't have to have the street closed to build the auditorium that they've been talking about for years. They don't even really, so we're not really approving that. And if they designed it the right way, they wouldn't even, it would be like a level 1 application just to get the permits to build it. They would not even need community development board review, I don't think, to even build an auditorium. Now, the size, whatever they want to build, that's a different story. But this is a voluntary transaction. They offered they wanted the street closed, and that was shared by the city manager, all of us, and we said that we would be willing to consider that. We never agreed to do it. We agreed to consider it, but each of us had 5 different things we wanted in return for that, and I'll talk about that later. But this went on for a period of months, and I think the assumption was among some of us that I didn't know at the time there would be other community members interested in doing something like the proposal we just got tonight. And to Councilmember Teixeira's point, really, this was only our last agenda for council. It's only been advertised for just 30 days as of today. A lot of folks were surprised when it came up on our agenda last time. So I think it's a public street. I talked at the work session on Monday about I use the street. A lot of people use it. The citizens of Clearwater, whether you live in downtown or you work in downtown or you live in countryside, it's the city citizens' street. And so I think if we are going to convey it, we can't just pick and choose who we're going to convey it to just because they own the property on the east side and west side without a fair opportunity for anyone else in the community or outside the community that wants to purchase the street or has a different proposal for it. So I'm sympathetic to the proposal tonight because, granted, it's been pointed out, the depictions are not the best, and they've admitted that, but they haven't had much time to really think about what proposal because they didn't know that the street was available. They didn't know that we were talking about doing this tonight. So I would, again, I'm chairing the meeting, so I can't make motion second, but I would vote to support postponing it to give others, including this group, a chance to make a proposal because I think it ought to be open to the entire community to do something with that street.
So I think, let me confirm with the attorney, the motion should be to continue the item before council for 30 days.
I would agree that would be the form of the motion.
Yeah.
All right, second.
Okay, now we can discuss.
Now
Council discussion. So I'll go ahead and start. So listen, this is something that, this is one of the reasons I got in government. And here we just did it when I brought up the fluoride issue that we're finally coming to later on in the evening. And 37-year-old who's got a good career, great life, and it's just frustrating to see government kick the can down the road. And that's exactly what we're doing here again. Right? They got the proposal in on time, absolutely. We've had a very good authority within the neighborhood that we all know, Reverend Wade, point out that this isn't the right place for this proposal.
Who are you to say? Even the Reverend. Put it up to the people. Let the people speak instead of just 1 or 2.
And it should be in another neighborhood to which a lot of us agreed on. And here we are making a motion to just digest this proposal for Garden Street. It just doesn't make sense to me. And it's definitely a little frustrating. And I will say this, in my mind, it's showing bad faith. Here we sent city staff out to do a job. They came back with a good, in my opinion, a good contract. And we see things that are happening with downtown Cleveland Street. And now, in my opinion, I said it when I was running in all of the different forums, we see that there's roadblocks thrown up by Scientology and roadblocks thrown up by the city. I see this as a roadblock that the city's thrown up. So I just don't, you want stagnation in the city, this is the way to do it. And this is how it's going to continue. And I'm not here for stagnation, I'm here for progress and working.
Mr. Cotton, you're still missing the overlying problem. David Miscavige, has not been doing anything with any of these properties for 50 years until a year ago, or a year and 4 months ago. David Miscavige was talking to Poirier trying to get this street and get all this. This has been a work in progress for a year and 4 months. And here you are being a cheerleader for fucking Poirier. You're being a cheerleader for David Miscavige. Dude, I'm telling you. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a big Scientologist. But this whole deal smells fishy it smells fishier than friggin' leaving shrimp in a bait bucket for a week and then opening up your bait bucket. That's how fishy this smells. But shit, you leave your comment.
Going to continue, and I'm not here for stagnation. I'm here for progress and working. It is now known to me, Tracy McManus, everybody is familiar with Tracy McManus, asked me when I was running, did you know that Scientology or its parishioners owned 200 properties? No, I didn't. I did not. But when I had a meeting with the city manager and sat across from David Miscavige, he did.
And I want a lot of you to understand what he just said. And I'm going to play it back. He sat, him, Ryan Cotton, Jennifer Poirier, and David Miscavige, all three of those people sat in the same room together. And that's why I'm telling you, there's something weird going on with Poirier, because Poirier's been doing this for almost a year and 4 months, or at least a year and 4 months. Cotton, he's new, and for some reason, he's sucking on the titty of fucking Poirier. And then number three, you want to know what number three is? You've got a Scientologist that is wrapping these two in, and they're like, oh yeah, I got them all. I hope you understand that's what's going on right now.
When I was running, did you know that Scientology or its parishioners owned 200 properties? No, I didn't. I did not. But when I had
a meeting with the city manager and sat across from David Miscavige, he did tell me we own 200 properties. The Scientology or our parishioners.
Had a meeting with the city manager and sat across from David Miscavige, he did tell me we own 200 properties. The Scientology or our parishioners. Had a meeting with the city manager and sat across from David Miscavige, he did tell me we own 200 properties. The Scientology or our parishioners. And guess what? When we had this meeting, all those papers were still up in the windows. Everything was happening, or that was happening is still happening. After the meeting and seeing that we were going to allow staff to progress and try and make a deal, you started seeing things start to happen.
The guy has 200 properties, bro. 200, and he's working on 3? 200, and he's working on 3? Come on, man. Come on. He's had 50 years to work on any one of these properties at any given time. And he's working on 3 after 50 years?
So listen, I understand frustration, but for somebody who is a second-generation native that's lived here more than 10 years, that's lived here more than 15 years.
Whoop-de-doo. Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah.
Whoop-de-doo.
Yes. It's been a ghost town for a long time, guys. So I'm just trying to say that this is government at its finest and kicking the can down the road. So it's very frustrating from my aspect to see just government doing that once again.
So please, let folks up here speak. Councilmember Manzo.
Thank you, Mayor. I agree with you. To me, we could give 2 years to this proposal, and it can be an absolutely amazing park and cherish a legacy and remember so many amazing faces and souls from our African American and Greenwood community, which we all love so much. But Garden Street is not the answer. So to me, we can fight for this for as long as extra time is needed and build a better proposal. It's only 5 pages. If we could not have read it in the 2 hours we were given before, the 5 pages with a coloring book on the back.
Fuck you, asshole. Fuck you, asshole.
Then I don't know what we're doing. I
agree.
May I please? I think this is another example of government kicking the can down the road. I think it was afraid to make a decision. Nothing's going to change in the 30 days that you take to reevaluate a proposal that the majority of us just sat here and said this is not the right fit for it. So,
yep, you just heard that right. It's already been determined. They do not want this, and they do not want to have a discussion. It's not going to change. So Clearwater residents, they're indefinitely going to sell this property to Scientologists.
We're just pushing the stagnation down the road. The very reason that we're all emotional and upset and frustrated is the stagnation in our downtown. And here we are again, just prolonging it. What may seem like immense differences of opinions, I think we're all in this room truly connected and rooted in sincere compatibility, the desires to have a united Clearwater, the desires to have a developed and active downtown for all the citizens of Clearwater, a desire to protect our downtown. And I firmly feel that this deal that the city negotiated puts our citizens and our city in a better place for the future. And you don't have to agree with me, and you're totally entitled to that. That's your opinion. I personally, some are going to say this is a long, exhausting night and they're over it. How do you guys deal with that? This is refreshing to me. This is what government is about. Our community has begging for 30 or 40 years to be a part of these decisions, to come along with these, to stop doing backdoor discussions, to stop hiding behind a veil of secrecy and come out into the public. And
Menino, you are just as stupid as that 501c3 that you claimed you gave $100,000, and I proved that one wrong. You didn't give $100,000. You pocketed that. Can I prove it? That's just allegedly. But all the attorneys don't have any record of you giving any money. And then second off, for the last 50 years, this guy, David Miscavige, has done nothing to help Clearwater. And you're like, oh, we want to just give it back, and we want, with a veil of secrecy. Oh, for over a year and 4 months, Poirier has been talking to David Miscavige under the veils of secrecy. Nobody knew about this until 4 months ago. So what are you talking about? You're just sitting there lying through your teeth. You know how a politician is lying? They just keep fucking talking. And then we can just prove it. Trust me, everybody. I've got those records, and I can't wait to see what all 5 of them all wanted from David Miscavige. So stay tuned for that.
Decisions, to come along with these, to stop doing backdoor discussions, to stop hiding behind a veil of secrecy and come out into the public and...
Are you sure about that?
A veil of secrecy and come out into the public, and this is what we're doing, and we're finally there. We are. There's no debating that we're not having these discussions in the open. You're seeing uncomfortable debate in a very challenging situation in our community that everybody up here is uncomfortable having, and those before us were uncomfortable, and before them were uncomfortable too. But nothing is going to change in our community if we keep doing the same thing. Doing nothing gets us the same results that we're all complaining about. Do you give up? Do you give up on your downtown? I don't think 30 days does nothing. Do you give up on your downtown? I don't think.
Would you let the gentleman speak? He'll talk to you after the meeting.
I know, it's amazing that the free speech group is the one that doesn't let anybody speak.
To get where these people start filtering away and leaving and not getting what they want.
Yeah, Rule 15 was passed, and it's a First Amendment right. And I'll stand up for anybody's First Amendment right, and we'll gladly give them their 3 minutes and listen. Unfortunately, some of the situations you're discussing are people that live over 4 hours away.
Yes.
Don't even live in our community, and they're coming in just to put a live stream camera in front of them to get clicks on YouTube or social media. There has to be a line between civility and being an obstructionist, right? And when you're just there to be an if you don't live in our city, you don't own a business, you're not part of, the Kiwanis Club, the Rotary Club, what are you doing? And maybe we need to find some of those individuals' hobbies. Maybe they can paint storm drains or something for us and put them to work.
For us to make, because we do very seriously value citizen input and how our citizens feel in our community.
Would you let the gentleman speak? He'll talk to you after the meeting.
I know, it's amazing that the free speech group is the one that doesn't let anybody speak.
He'll have a conversation with you anytime.
Ironic.
Any issue. Please let, he listened to all of you. Please let him speak.
Very ironic. I don't only listen, I take notes on every single one of you. I try to get your names and what your thoughts are and what your points were. I listen to you because I care. And I care about our community. And I care that we're finally in this place of dialogue and in the sunshine having these conversations. And whatever happens with this decision, if it gets kicked down the road because we're weak and we don't want to make decisions today and we just want to take time and see if something miraculous happens, nothing miraculous is going to happen until we take action in this community. right? Nothing is going to happen until we do something different. And it's unfortunate that we're in this same place. I think this was a good opportunity for the citizens of Clearwater, for a brighter future for Clearwater. I think the ball would have been in the church's court. The ball's in their court to say, come out in the sunshine, come show your presentation, show us timelines, show us plans, talk to our citizens about what you want.
You're right, Menino. Where was David Miscavige? Where was this great video that Cotton saw? Oh, the wonderful video that Cotton had that he saw that not one citizen saw. Come on, give it to me. Show everybody. We all want to see it. We want to see what's so great about Scientology that they haven't done anything in 50 years. Please, show us. Just put it out on your website. Put it up. Just, if you want to be transparent, take whatever information and put that information out there so the citizens can see whatever nonsense you're talking about.
This was your opportunity to have that, and it still is 30 days down the road, but this is a new council with new ideas and a new, what some have called backbone, that finally wants to bring these two parties together and have conversations. But if you don't want to have them and we just want to stay stuck and binded by emotions and fear and frustrations, we'll get the same results. But I can promise you, I'm going to keep fighting for Clearwater. Tony, you and your family and all your downtown merchants, I'm going to keep fighting for y'all, and I just hope that we can find a way to move Clearwater forward.
Someone, I guess you have a comment.
I need to address some of the comments that I've heard repeatedly, and I always try to ignore it 2 times, but when it's said 3 times, I always feel like I need to answer. I don't think of this as kicking the can down the road. I'm responding to the citizens feeling that they were blindsided. That's what I'm responding to. I don't feel it's weak. I don't think I've been called many things, but weak is not one of them. I was not born in the United States, let alone in Clearwater, but I did choose this city, and I think that I have dedicated over a decade to the city. So let's not talk about who's got more in the game and who's stronger and who's weaker. Let's just focus on the issues. The issue is, I feel, from what I'm hearing from the citizens, they feel blindsided. They feel rushed. The first time that this was discussed was on St. Patrick's Day in spring break on a Monday, which was not our regular scheduled meeting.
And what Ms. Texera is talking about is that they didn't normally, on Mondays, they have their work session, and that's when it would have been discussed about. And then Thursday, they would have had a meeting. Well, because it was St. Patty's Day and they had their regular meeting on a Monday, they voted on going to the second part. There's been 2 parts to this. The first part was voted on a Monday, and then they went 2 weeks, and then they came back to a work session, and now you're seeing all the people why they're so pissed off. So just so you understand.
So it's not kicking the can down the road. It is just giving the citizens a chance to respond, and I want to do that respectfully. In terms of wanting to do, we all care about downtown. Let's not do this, contest. It's just that I come from a perspective that I've been down this road before. So this is actually doing the same thing over and over again. We have vacated land over and over and over again. And we've never received the activation that was promised. So I am deeply saddened that we have once again missed this opportunity as a city to negotiate a beneficial deal, in my mind, to walk away with a written activation agreement. That's what we all want. We want activation. And in terms of seeing progress with the building of the buildings, the Church of Scientology has proven over and over again that they can build beautiful buildings. It's what goes in it that makes it successful or not. If it is private, even though they're the highest paying taxpayer, we would have received more if it was an entity that actually sold goods and services. So it's not just building pretty buildings and the papers going down, it's what goes in it. And we already have turnkey properties that are ready to be rented, and there's no response when anyone calls to rent them. So an activation agreement to me is imperative. That's what our downtown needs. And I use the word our because it is both of ours. They're there, we're here, it's for everyone. We have repeatedly vacated land with hopes and verbal promises that activation would occur in return, and is yet to occur. We will be privatizing a public road in the very downtown we're trying to revitalize without considering the negative impact to the downtown of the future. Forever chasing this carrot. We have written agreements with every other entity. Why would this be different? This vacation request will further exacerbate the imbalance in our downtown, and I will not be in support of it. And as a matter of fact, I want to go on record and ask to be put on the agenda for exactly a year from now in the work session to re-examine what activation has occurred, what long-term leases have been signed.
And I want to give that a chance to see if that can actually work. Now, many of my constituents oppose the city's collaboration with the church, even if it means sacrificing efforts to create a vibrant downtown. I understand that. I've got friends and family that are vehemently opposed to this. And I think we all do, because it's hard up here. I was elected for representing the best interests of our city, and not the individual wants and needs of each individual person, but what is best for the city. And I really think, it's been over 50 years. Look what we got. You're all complaining about it. We have nothing. But you know what? I can tell you this. Now listen. You say, okay, the church owns all these buildings downtown and it's a ghost town. Well, you know what? They own the buildings, but you go to Clear Sky, you love it. You go to the downtown pizza, you love it. You go to Tequila's, that 400 block is filled.
I don't know. I guess what I want to show you is a little bit of a positive and a little bit of a negative. So the positive is this awesome dueling piano bar is now open. And the negative is it's a Saturday night. Let me show you what downtown Clearwater looks like. Barely a soul. Barely anyone.
Downtown pizza, you love it. You go to Tequila's, that 400 block is filled all the time, even on weekdays. So they can be owners of buildings, but what they've done is they've bought up these properties for assemblage. And you as a developer would know this. You can't develop anything if you have small parcels. You've got to assemble them first to be able to make it opportune for a developer. And that's the reason they have done this. People think they're taking it over because they want their footprint to be all of Clearwater. That's not true. They haven't done anything with these buildings down there, extended leases, because they have plans to redo these buildings that are terrible buildings, by the way. I was a retired contractor, I've been in all of them, and they need to be torn down, most of them, because they're old. They're really old. They need to be, and they're spending, on 3 buildings, they're spending millions and millions to rebuild those. They probably should have just knocked them down, and they could have done a lot more with the money they're putting into it, but they're going to put restaurants and retail in there.
Always lying. Oh my God. Stop fucking lying.
For the Scientology, in 30 days, if we look at it and we find that it's not the best fit, then we can go ahead and do the second reading and vote on, on the property sale to Scientology, and it'll continue on. They're not getting this road until their building is completed. We're not doing the sale until their building's completed. So you'll still be able to use the road like you really want to use it, and you'll be able to park there, which you never do, because I know you don't. But it's not something that's going to happen right away.
But this was not a negotiation. This was maybe 5 negotiations, but it was not one negotiation. And even if it was, the way we landed with our owning the street, it's only been with one party. It's not been like we would have if we were bidding this out or anything else we would do, soliciting bids, proposals, and then selecting the proposal, and then negotiating with the proposal that we selected. We haven't done that here. We've been talking outside the public's knowledge with one party. And I think it's fair, now that we know we have someone else in the community with a proposal, I think it's fair that we give them adequate time to refine their proposal, to talk to us about their proposal, because they have had, they offered to, or they did express the desire to close the street almost a year ago. And so we've had all this time to talk about, well, what would you give us, what would your proposal be? This group that came in tonight they haven't even had 30 days to even pull together what their thoughts would be to do something different with the street. It's a public street. We need to let the public submit proposals to it if we're going to close it. Again, they don't have to close the street or ask the street to be closed. Their members use it for the flag building. I think that's most of the parking use along there is their members. They could build the beautiful auditorium on the lot they have now. But if they want to close the street, that's a commitment we need to make to public, to let the public make proposals. And we have just not, the public didn't even know about this until it came on our agenda for them to put proposals together. The other thing I would say this is there's nothing to prevent Scientology from revising its proposal too, in response to what they've seen tonight, to see some other proposal too, to maybe make it better, arguably more valuable to the citizens of Clearwater. So I think the 30 days is fair to our citizens, our community, and to anyone else who might have a different proposal other than what's been presented to us. Because the talks have only been with one party, not with anybody in the community as a whole, and it's only been noticed for 30 days as of today. So that's the reason I will vote for postponement.
Sir, thank you very much. Councilmember Albritton.
Now, from what I've heard, allegedly, I'm not claiming it, but a lot of people have already told me that Cotton and Albritton is the either son-in-law of Albritton. But that's just a fun fact. Is it true? Leave your comment down below or email me at thearmedfisherman@gmail.com and only send facts.
I don't know if we've all agreed to this proposal being great, but in the wrong place. Why extending this motion to review it bears any credibility? Because we can take this wonderful proposal and the acknowledgments that it's getting to staff right now and start working with them and take it to the CRE without a 30-day extension to the agenda item that is here now. So that's that. And Mr. Mayor, with all due respect, I feel like you're being a little disingenuous. We did not put this street out for bid. You are 1,000% correct. Scientology asked us to vacate. That's what started this process, and that's when the city manager came to us and said, what are your thoughts on vacating Garden?
Mr. Cotton, you're being disingenuous. This has been ongoing for 1 year and 4 months. You are a fucking tool. You became the tool for Scientology. Congratulations. You got played by Scientology and David Miscavige. Good job, buddy. Just like I said, man, I had high hopes because you stood up for the First Amendment. But, you know, I don't live in Clearwater. I'm just saying for you Clearwater citizens, I know who I wouldn't vote for.
Scientology asked us to vacate. That's what started this process. And that's when the city manager came to us and said, what are your thoughts on vacating Garden? To which we said, get your team, go talk. They brought together a sales contract and did the best they could between her 5 bosses to negotiate a deal. If the sales contract and the other things that were followed within this aren't a negotiation, then you're gonna have to give me the definition of a negotiation. So I don't think that it's fair, because we weren't looking to sell Garden to anybody. This was Scientology reaching out to us to vacate it. And you know what, to Councilmember Menino's point, like, this is healthy. I can't remember if ever this much debate in the sunshine has been talked about with Scientology. So if that doesn't show you that we are open and transparent to give you the most information that we legitimately have and trying to negotiate a clearly contentious avenue while trying to build on our downtown and make it better, I don't know what else you need to see. Because everything's in the agenda item, we're openly discussing it. Countless times I've asked for the city attorney to go over the taxpayer protected sales contract that we have. I'm glad that I'm here to sit in this seat and not be limited to the 3 minutes, because this is the exact reason why I ran for government. The frustration that I felt as a regular citizen that finally put me where I needed to be and worked my tail off to get where I'm at now, because this is government at its finest, and just kicking it down the road for something that it clearly wasn't in the very beginning of this. This was a requested vacation, which started a process. This was not a RFP. This was not, we don't like this street anymore, we want to erase it, and what businesses can come fill it. This is apples and oranges. So I'm sure I'm probably hurting a lot of feelings, but it needs to be said. It can't just stay not said. And from December we've known about this.
Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. Tell me lies.
So I don't know what we're doing here. I really don't.
Thanks.
You done? No, I was just I've said enough already. I think we're gonna talk about it again. I think with all due respect, it was a negotiation. There's no question that it wasn't a negotiation. The CEO of the city is the city manager.
What the fuck did you just say, Sal?
God damn it, are you fucking with me?
They're trying to claim that the CEO is the city manager. The city manager doesn't do anything. The people that vote on the things that are going to get passed, they're the CEOs, mayor, council members, all those people that are sitting here being a bunch of fucking crybabies. Those are the CEOs. I'm going to let you know that right now. The manager, the CEOs tell the manager what to do. If the manager doesn't do what she's supposed to do, she will be fired and she will be replaced. And that's really what I want to hope. Because you know something? This city manager, she's a pawn. She's just, you've got Cotton, he's a pawn. You've got Menino, he's a pawn. You've got friggin' Albritton, he's a pawn. A lot of these people are just pawns that are voting for the Scientologists. Like, I'm not joking. They're all pawns, and they've been doing this for 1 year and 4 months. So, leave your comment. Do you believe the city manager is the CEO of a city? Hi, Poirier. Oh, I miss you. I can't wait to see you on the 29th.
The CEO of the city is the city manager, and she was in God knows how many negotiating meetings where she took every one of your assurances and conditions that we all wanted and put them all on one massive list and sat in front of the church and said, we want all of these. And they said, well, maybe yes, no, maybe no, and compiled that list to what they felt in the negotiations was a deal for them. And some of us got assurances and conditions that made us comfortable enough to say yes in a vote, and some of us didn't get those assurances we wanted, and that's okay. That's how negotiations work. But I don't think it's fair to distance yourself so much from a negotiated deal that they asked if we could vacate it. All of us unanimously said yes, but they asked if we could have appraisals. All of us said yes, but. Am I okay? Oh, I thought you had something to say. All of us said yes, but, and then it was the level of assurance, and that's the only place we differed. So I think, I don't know, it's frustrating. I think you guys got an out. I think it was an easy out to take, and I get it. You are entitled to that. Nobody was saying anything weak or strong or picking on anybody. You're entitled to your opinion. You have just as much of a vote as the next person, and I respect all of you for that. I just, I feel that we have to fully respect the process, be open and transparent with it, especially if we're going to continue to be open and transparent with it. And I look forward to 1 year seeing hopefully where we're at, and hopefully every time we get an opportunity on this dais, let's not do a North Beach update, but let's hold the church accountable and say what's next and what's the timeline and what are you working on and how are you helping the citizenry of Clearwater.
Yep. Anybody else? Okay, so are we ready to vote on the motion? Okay. So motion's been
Just would want clarification in terms of what the steps are to clarify.
Now that's a titty. Holy man.
Clarify if we are negotiating or not, because that was the direction that I thought I received by all 5 of council. And so just to clarify, is that what I'm going to continue to do? Are we going to do something different with that, just so that I'm clear on the direction from staff standpoint?
Well, I don't recall a meeting where we voted to give you authority to negotiate. I don't recall that happening. So when we're using the word negotiate, I want to make sure that we're using it the same way, we're saying the same thing. We did want each of us separately, not an open meeting, but we did give you direction that we would be willing to consider, and I think all 5 did, according to what you shared with us, to talk with them about doing it. We've relied on the staff to tell us the process and city attorney, but now city attorney is the one who raised, hey, this is a street we own. It's got to be more than just closing the street. But you've been going back and forth talking. So we've got a different proposal. If they want to revise their proposal, that's fine. It's up to them to communicate what it is that they would be willing to do. That's all they've done to this point. We haven't reached an agreement. We haven't selected them. They have, and the folks who came tonight, they've got just as much right to make a proposal like they have. And so that's all you're doing is communicating what is your proposal. And they have made that proposal. They put it in the form of an agreement now, but that's all we're doing. We've never voted or even until the last meeting addressed this as a body to give you direction to do anything or any authority to do anything. We've had private meetings, but not spoken as a body to do that. And you can't share with me or the other 4 what each one of us said outside the sunshine. So look, we're just trying to move this along in a way that's fair to the folks who've come, and the citizens have expressed. They just want a fair opportunity for alternative proposals to be considered. Sure. And that's what we're talking about here. Yep. Because we have not committed, we've not voted to say, we are only going to talk with this one group about purchasing the street. Sure. We have not done that. We've not considered that in a public meeting, and we have to, in order to give you any authority to negotiate with it. We've not done that.
So just direction in terms of how I'm going forward, because that's definitely not the direction that I was given individually. The direction I was given individually by all 5 of you, and the word negotiate was provided. And so that's why I just want to make sure, let's check the temperature now and see what it is that I'm supposed to be doing.
So I'm not quite sure if there's nuances to the word negotiate that I'm missing. My understanding was she represents all 5 of us. We convey everything to her, and then she consolidates and gets the best deal. I got the short end of the stick, but that's okay. That's how the way it works. But I guess I'm misinterpreting the word negotiate. For me, she was negotiating, but not in an open forum. But she was having one-on-ones with us and getting everybody's requests and then consolidating it and negotiating. So what is it about the word negotiate that you and I are not getting together?
I've been negotiating things for 34 years.
Right.
And I've never would I negotiate the way we have. I mean, you just do not get good result for your client when you're doing it the way we're doing it. She's essentially been negotiating for 5 individual members, taking each one of our 5 preferences and discussing with them. This is what they would like to see in a proposal. But we've not even had an agreement drafted and put into the record until the draft of an agreement until here. I guess it was this meeting, this meeting agenda work session came up, the actual agreement. So we've had nothing to look at, the 5 of us all together, to see what even the proposal is to this point. And what I'm saying, using the RFP, I was not saying this should have been an RFP bidding proposal. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I understand what folks are saying here tonight because they have not had a chance to present maybe a different proposal for purchasing the street than what's been presented to us because they didn't know about it until recently. And to that extent, Scientology had a benefit of being able to talk with us through what we would want in exchange for closing the street where others did not. And that's why I think it's fair to give them another 30 days, this proposal.
Oh, I'm not questioning the 30 days. I'm questioning what my role is from the body.
Okay. Please. Mayor, may I think it's a shame and disrespectful that we're sitting here questioning your role in the city. You are the CEO of the city. That is your job. That is your title. That is your duty. That's what you get paid to do. We have a city manager form of government. We don't have a strong mayor form of government where anybody else other than you has the ability to negotiate. We don't sit in our individual meetings with anybody in the community, with the church, with the Girl Scouts of America, or with the Hyatt and negotiate. We don't have that ability. That's not our job, and it's not in our charter. So I would be careful as a body and as a council to erode the confidence in the form of government that we have, because the voters spoke loudly in the last referendum. They had the opportunity to speak to it, and their voices were heard in an election and said, we don't want a strong mayor form of government, we want a city manager form of government. So your direction from me is to continue to negotiate on the best behalf of the city and at the direction of your 5 bosses as a council.
Hey, Menino, did you hear what you just said? Because how can the CEO, but the 5 of you are her bosses? How is she the CEO? Like, usually the CEO is the one that runs the business, right? And then there's CFOs and, all the other managements that go behind it, right? I think you're a friggin' idiot too, man. You're a moron. That's why you claim to give $100,000 to Finish Line for scholarships, but when I did a records request through the attorneys, through Pinellas County, and they found not one single dime, I think you're a moron, and I think you're a liar. So go fuck yourself too, buddy. I can't wait to see you on the 29th. Fireworks are gonna happen.
Is to continue to negotiate on the best behalf of the city and at the direction of your 5 bosses as a council, and I think you do a great job, and I appreciate the hard work you put into it.
Well, I would say that as much as I appreciate City Manager, I've complimented her many times, she doesn't have a vote. The 5 of us make the decisions. The 5 of us. She's not the CEO in that respect. She does not have decision-making authority to sell property.
Nobody said she had decision.
The 5 of us do. That's a council manager form of government. Instead of in the mayor's position, an elected person, we have 5 elected people that collectively make decisions like we're making. And she did her job in this case, was communicating to us. Again, I'm not saying that there's anything you did was wrong. I'm saying it's hard. I said this at the prior meeting. Hard to take 5 of us and negotiate 5, try to find some middle ground. That was very hard. Herding cats in some respects to try to communicate. But that's all you're doing. You're trying to communicate with them what the 5 of us wanted so that they could make a proposal, which they did, that would get at least 3 of us to support it.
I understand what happened. I'm asking what the direction of the body is going from here with this motion and whatever the vote might be.
Well, we're gonna see. I guess we would want you to talk with this other group too.
So, to simplify this, I look at this extension as giving this organization 30 days to improve on their proposal because they were done under duress. And one of the things that I hear repeatedly is, what do you mean a city street's up for sale? Who knew? So the reason why we didn't get a lot of proposals is just the very concept of a public road in a downtown up for sale is something that many people can't imagine. So this group probably did it in a week. And so I'm not asking actually specifically for you to negotiate or anything, just to give that group an extension to improve on their proposal. Because according to them, they themselves have said that they were rushed and they did not provide the best of their ability. It's as simple as that. I'm not asking you to negotiate with going back to the church or anything. It's just a response to what I feel is a fair request. And that is for them to, to give me a proposal that they would give me if they weren't under duress. That's all. But you are definitely the person who represents all 5 in this form of government. And when I went to see David Miscavige, I insisted that you're there with me because I alone should not be there because I want you to be able to know what's going on, right? So did I clarify that at least for myself or no? Or did I just muddy the waters even more?
I mean, we would come back in 30 days. I mean, if we feel like there's an alternative proposal, then I guess we would. If this is already an agenda item, we would vote against the proposal that's out there now from Scientology, and then the council would tell you that we're interested in this other proposal, and we would go from there. But I think we want more time. I mean, the motion is to take more time to consider what these folks are offering as an alternative.
And on May 15th, it's voted up or down, or we continue with, it depends what's brought to us. I was blindsided by this an hour and a half, well, now 4 hours ago. I haven't seen this before, so, but as far as the city attorney says, they got it in on time, right? They got it in today. So my 30-day extension is for this, to get more information on this, and then maybe we have that as an agenda item, we talk about it, vote it up or down, go to the next one, because that's what we're extending. What is it? What are we doing, 8.2?
The motion is to extend this actual item, so the item will come back as written unless direction is given otherwise to staff.
Oh, 7.2, okay.
I think exactly what we said earlier, where we're kind of kicking the can. Let's move forward with this. Put your vote together. You have the vote. It sounds like you have the voices, and let's move forward so we can continue business.
Okay. The motion is to postpone for 30 days at least 30 days to the next meeting, which would be May 15th.
May 15th.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay. It would be the mayor, vice mayor, and Councilmember Teixeira voting in favor, and Councilmember Menino and Councilmember Cotton voting against. Okay.
Can I make a point of order, Mr. Mayor? And hopefully this will set some clarity. I'm going to make a motion to appoint our city manager to be the lead negotiator for the Garden Street Avenue project, talking to Scientology.
That should be an independent party. I would amend that to point person.
Right, lead negotiator, point person.
She's already, she's been doing it.
But we just ran into this issue where she's been doing it, but she isn't doing it. So I'm making a motion
We can
to make
consider
her
that. We can
lead
consider that.
negotiator in dealing with Garden Avenue with Scientology.
We can consider that on new business, I guess, at the end. I mean, this is not, that's not with respect to that agenda.
Mr. Margolis, am I allowed to do a point of order and bring that to a motion?
I would not, procedurally, I would not necessarily do it by point of order.
Okay.
It's something that I do believe that it's germane, I think, to the item. We haven't necessarily moved on. So potentially, a motion could be made at this time during the next 30 days or 40 days, whatever the new day was, 30-something days. A motion could be made, I believe, at this time to specifically authorize the city manager to conduct that negotiation. Just playing that out, though, for a second procedurally, if that motion were made, if that motion were to pass, there's still a question of, well, what is it that's being negotiated? Because there is a proposal that is currently pending before the council.
Right.
And so if in fact the decision of the council is to make that motion, to give that express authority, I don't see anything wrong with that procedurally. I don't know if it would necessarily resolve the manager's question as to what the direction is to her. However, in terms of, well, what is it? What would you like her to negotiate during that?
Are you wanting her to renegotiate? Or?
I just want her to have clarity that she knows that when she goes in with our 5, as Councilmember Menino posted or said it on Monday, warm and fuzzies, that she knows that she's coming from a position of strength from the city, talking on our behalf, that we all know what she's going to talk about and try and formulate the best deal for the citizens and the taxpayers. So, if we need to amend it to where it's not specifically to Scientology and just to the Garden Avenue motion, I don't know how we need to do that, but it seems like, as Councilmember Teixeira said, there's a lot of nuance in the term negotiate. So be the negotiator / point person, be the lead, whatever it is that we need to say in this government red tapes, that we're all here in the sunshine to let our citizens know that she is negotiating on the behalf of the city, bringing us back the information and trying to formulate the best deal to get something to pass, which is her job in the city manager form of government. So I'm trying to set clarity, because I'm not going to sit in front of these people and tell them I'm standing here for transparency and I was frustrated just like them, and then just let this go unattended. We need to make sure that these people know who's doing what job, what they're telling us, and when it comes to us in 30 days, these are the facts, these are the proposals, we know who negotiated it, and this is what we got. Let the chips fall where they may.
As long as the real city manager.
So what's your motion? I don't understand what your motion.
What is the term that I need to put it to where she would be the point person for all things South Garden Avenue over the next 30 days?
I think if Councilmember Cotton would like, I certainly think you make a motion to expressly authorize and perhaps even direct the city manager to conduct any of those discussions and negotiations. I do believe, in all candor, that because a specific proposal has already been presented to the council, if there is any desire from the council to either amend that proposal, modify it, et cetera, the manager's going to need to hear that from you. So that's the only thing I would.
And that's why I'm trying to say for all things Garden Avenue then, because this proposal, maybe within the 30 days we get another one. Well, does she have to come back to us to negotiate?
I don't have a problem with that at all. I mean, that's what she's been doing now. She's been communicating.
Sir, with all due respect, you just said that's not what she's been doing. That's where we're so confused.
She's not been binding us. She doesn't have any authority to bind us. So she's been communicating with them, like she does on a lot of other things we give her direction. But that doesn't prevent you from communicating with them, me, Councilmember Teixeira, Vice Mayor, we can all communicate with them.
I don't know. I made a motion to try and bring clarity.
What's your motion? Repeat.
It's whatever the elementary school language I need to present to allow everybody in this room to understand that our city manager is going to be the point person for the rest of the Garden Avenue project. So if we've got Mac Dixon Memorial Garden, if we have Scientology, if we have Hilton Hotels come in, it's for that. Everyone here knows that she is the point person in negotiating the information we give to her, our warm and fuzzies, that she tries to articulate and put together the best contract for taxpayers. We all know that that's the person that did it, and when we get here, there can't be anything that, well, she wasn't negotiating.
That's what she's been doing. But if you get it, you'll be succinct about what your motion is.
You First Amendment honors are going to have some awesome
Let's see if there's a second.
I'll second your motion, but I think it's sad that we're still going on with this, and we have a form of government in place that the voters already voted on. We have a system that's been working, and why we're even questioning what the word negotiate is versus communicate. This is it's eye-opening to me, and we have this form of government. That is our city manager. She negotiates on behalf of the direction of us 5 council members. She takes our input, brings it back, and we collectively do make a decision, and she's been negotiating since day one of her job as the city manager for the city. So why we even have to be at this point of making a motion and seconding and voting on her ability to negotiate when it's the job description and duties within our charter for a city manager. We're wasting time of all these citizens and taxpayers in here.
All right, so let's go. First, second, let's go.
So we've got a motion and a second. I'm not exactly sure what the motion is, but.
Yeah,
I don't think you can vote on what the motion is, so.
I believe the motion is to authorize And direct the city manager to negotiate all items related to the Garden Avenue for the next 30 days.
Next motion? Second?
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Okay, so now we go to 8.2. Thanks. No, we 8.1.
8.2 we haven't done. Oh, God, can we just? It's a second reading.
No, but they postponed.
Oh, well, yeah, so actually, this is postponed for till May 15th because of the first motion.
So how many, all 8, 1 through 4? Or?
No, so you've already done the other items, but when it comes to 8.2, this one, I'm sorry, 8.1. 8.1 is the one that's contingent upon the last item, so this one
now we're going to
automatically gets continued.
8 point. So agenda item 8.2.